Do you have the right people in the right roles? Now, I was recently talking to a friend. He was voxing me and he was just getting my advice, knowing who I am and what I specialize in. He also has actually purchased well oil before. And I'm going to just read his messages and then I'm going to give you the feedback I was giving to him. And the reason I think this is so powerful is, first of all, this is just a conversation back and forth with a friend, telling this person everything I would do if I was in this specific situation. And these were the candidates I was getting. And here's what you need to know. There are right roles and there are wrong roles for the right people. Sometimes it's like we just had somebody apply to work here. And I loved this person, but it wasn't the right fit for the role I had. So I actually messaged a different department and I said, hey, I'm not going to move forward with her in this role, but I think she could thrive in your department. Sure enough, we passed her to the other department, interviewed her. She got the job and she's like in her first, I think 30 days and is crushing because it's the right role for her. Okay. So here's the question I got in my Voxer message from a friend. They're about to hire an operations person, a project manager role is what they're posting for. He said, I have a candidate that looks amazing on paper. Okay. 10 years of operational management experience. But he was worried because he did this personality test that I recommend. If you're in well-oiled, then you know which one. And on this test, this person scored really high in visionary, and their third score, their lowest score, was operator. Okay, so let me just quickly explain this. A visionary is what most founders, CEOs are most of the time. Okay. We are ideas people. We are good at starting. We could think of 7 new business ideas today. You usually have like 1 or 2 ideas in the back burner of like your next business, because that is how easy it is for us to think of ideas. We are typically visionaries. Okay. Now, when I see business owners who are amazing visionaries, but when I see them struggling to get the business where I think they could take it, it's usually because they're missing like their right hand. They're missing this operator, the person that is actually sitting in the operations department who is grabbing the visionaries' ideas and just implementing them, getting them done. I'll never forget when I first hired my operator, I said something in a meeting and I just casually said it. And it was like an idea that I wanted to do. And in my mind, I was thinking like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And maybe I'll do it one day. And she took it as, you want me to do this, and literally got it done within a week. And I was like, whoa, okay, hold up. Because operators thrive by finishing. Okay. So you need your opposite. And unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of business owners, we hire people that are like us. So all of a sudden you'll be surrounded by visionaries, right? And a lot of visionaries, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen, a lot of good ideas, but no one's getting things done. We see people come into well-oiled with amazing rock star, A-player type employees, contractors, et cetera. And we're like, but why don't they have results? And it's because there's so many visionaries and not enough operators to go around. Okay. So now this, my friend said to me, but like her experience was insane. And I'm like, well, tell me more. Like, what do you mean her experience was so good on paper? And this person, without getting into the details of somebody else's business, it really was good on paper. So I did say to him, hold up. So just so you know, you legally cannot hire or fire anybody based off of personalities. And there's a good reason for that, right? A lot of personality tests, people are nervous when they take it. Maybe they want to answer the way they want, they think you want them to answer. So I've actually had somebody take a personality test and it said they were a visionary, and they are not a visionary. But when you're getting drilled on certain questions, you might be thinking, well, that is important. Well, no, I'm not good at that, but I think it's important. I think the boss would think it's important. And sometimes they can fake out the personality test and not mean to. So I did say to him, hold up. It's possible she's that person and she is great and she is a great fit. Okay. So we don't use these to hire and fire. We use these to assist us in understanding who the person is. And then we test to confirm it's true. So he's like, well, how would I know if she's a visionary or an operator? I'm like, well, first of all, you could just ask her certain things and see if she's giving you ideas or she's really not here for ideas. She's here to help you implement and get it done, right? You could do a sample project and pay her, right? And give her a week worth of things to do. And can she finish them? Right? What is happening here? Okay. If she just keeps coming back to you with new ideas and better ideas and trying to outdo your ideas because she's a visionary, you're going to quickly realize she's not like your next, your better half. Right. So anyway, we start to dive in deep because on paper, she was an ops manager for 10 years at a very successful business. Okay. So I did say too, sometimes A players can force themselves to be good at many different things, and they will be in different areas that is not their true skill set. So it's also something where I've seen people who are not great at being an operator. They are a visionary, but they just make themselves be an operator. However, this person is also leaving the job. She is no longer happy there. And sometimes they can get burnt out by doing something that they're not naturally like gifted at, right? They have to work harder at it, right? It's easy to be good at something you're already good at, and it just comes naturally to you. It's exhausting to be good at something that you have to work really, really hard at, okay? So there's a lot of things I'm saying to him. I'm asking him, I'm pulling things out. I'm questioning all of this, okay? So I said to him, before you just go hire this person, I really want you to test her. I want you to give her a sample project. I don't care if you have to hire her for 30 days, give her a 90-day test. Like, I don't care what you need to do, but we need to really see if she's truly a visionary or if she's an operator. Okay. Now it turns out he did not end up hiring her. It was not a good fit. Okay. I think he found her a different role in the position, which makes me always so happy when it's a great person, just not the right role, right? And the right person for that role. So here is what I basically said to him next.
I'm telling you, I have coached so many people on this, and they will be like, but listen, I know you said not to, but I hired her anyway because she's amazing and she's been here for so long and we just like love her so much. And then they'll be like, so I'm letting my ops person, I'm demoting them to whatever today. Like, and everybody in Powerhouse just jokes because no one has ever had somebody in that role that is an ops. And then everybody's just like, I swear, listen to her. Like, it never works. So you are the visionary. So to work with an ops person, you have all the ideas and you want to just like throw things, like you want to be able to say things, and then your ops person catches it and does it. The problem is your person is such a high visionary. She doesn't want to do. She wants to think of ideas all day. So you want her to actually be doing, and with those results, I'm telling you, it will not work out for her as an operator. Like, it's not her skill set. So she can fake it. She can still be good at it, but her heart is not in an operator role. So that's why it's like, it's only going to be a temporary fit. I wouldn't put my eggs in the basket.
So he responds back and he says, I know you're right. Sometimes you don't even need me to say it. You don't need to hear from somebody else. You just know you shouldn't. But it sounds so easy to take this person and put her in this role and just do it. And it will be easy until it's not. And then you have to either demote or fire. And we don't want to do that. In fact, we want to avoid that at all costs. Okay. Now, the next question that this person asked me was, what would you say would be a good makeup for a coach? Okay. Here's my response to this.
Coaches, they're actually like a pretty good, even like mix. Like, we haven't found a certain personality type that like needs to be a coach specifically. The big things that we require, and we do like sample projects. So we'll do like mock calls and we can see, can they do it? So a couple things for coaches is, can they follow directions? Can they follow our script? So when I say script, when we have a coaching call, like there are 10 questions, or I don't know, making that up, like there are certain questions they must ask on the call. It is a non-negotiable. We need that information. So we basically will do a mock call of like, great, these are the questions you're going to ask. I'm going to be to attend business. Like, let's do it. And we're just looking for people that follow instructions, follow directions. So we have not found one type of personality, but I can tell you a lot of my coaches are just like pretty even with like operator processor. We really do not need visionaries because we're not looking at you to come up with ideas for our people. We just want you to like know the framework, know the curriculum, and be like, oh, this is what the program says. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for. But they really have not found a specific one that's been like, oh my goodness, this is it. It's just, can they follow instructions? Can they follow the script?
All right. Next question he asked is, what is your social media manager? And this, like, take notes because there's a lot in this next little clip that I sent to him.
Interesting. My social media manager position has been the biggest turnover position I have ever had in like any position. And this is what I have finally discovered after having Bella, who is now like the right person. So I would hire these people who were more like operators. I probably didn't know that's what they were at the time, but they were operators. And I would get so frustrated because I would think, oh my goodness, they don't do any ideas unless I think of the ideas. Like, this is not that hard to think of ideas, but I'm a natural visionary, so it's very easy for me to think of ideas. So they would do a good job, but they wouldn't grow the platform because I was too busy to help grow it. Does that make sense? So unless I thought of a plan, they weren't really doing a whole lot of new stuff. Okay. So then I hired a visionary, and she had the greatest ideas, but she was so slow that she barely did much. Like, it took her forever to think of the ideas and the strategy and this and that. And then by the time, and not only that, she didn't want to do the implementation. She wanted somebody to like outsource to. And then I found Bella. So Bella is not high visionary. She is the highest in visionary, but the second highest is an operator. And that has been a really good mix because she's got ideas and she's not so low on operator that she won't actually implement that. However, as she's grown with the company, she naturally has grown into who she wants to be naturally, which is a visionary. So Bella does very little implementation these days because even if somebody's like one visionary, two operator, eventually they just want to do what they want to do, and that's visionary, right? So it works temporarily to have Bella do all of it and be amazing. She came up with ideas and then could implement it. But now that she's been here a couple of years, she's got a few VAs underneath her, and she just comes up with the ideas and assigns it to them to do. But honestly, that has worked out well. So Bella's the main girl, and she has like a video editor VA. She has a graphic designer person under her. She has somebody that timestamps under her because they're Filipino. I can afford to do that. And it just works really, really well with her. So it's just interesting, like what I've seen over the years, but this is like the combo. So if Bella ever left, I am really just looking for a visionary because a visionary who can manage, right? So, okay, a high processor, I'm curious, what is her second thing that she likes to do? So what we have found out with a high processor, if they are high processor and they're next up visionary, that means that they can create systems from scratch. Because they like systems and they can think of ideas. So that's what that is. However, if you have a processor and their second operator, they will never do systems on their own. They just like to follow systems. Okay. So if I probably hope for your sake that she is a processor with an operator, but here's the problem with that. Processor with operator means you tell her what to do and she's going to do it. But if she's missing visionary, you're not coming up with any new ideas. Like you're going to have to do that. Does that make sense? It's okay. She can create the systems, but she doesn't want to do the system. So that's what you're going to be missing. So the only way you can get off without somebody like the processor / operator is if she buys a program and there's a visionary there. So for instance, my sister is not a visionary at all. Sorry, this is a really long message. My sister is not a visionary at all, but we bought a program with a dance studio company and they tell her all these amazing marketing ideas. So she doesn't have to think of any of them. She just says, oh, let's implement the September free trial strategy, right? And because she's the processor operator person, she and the visionary is kind of being handed to her, she's fine. But if I didn't have a program where she could go in and learn the strategies, she would not know what to come up with next month. It would be very, very difficult. So do you see how every person just has like a different skill set?
We all have our own unique skill sets, right? And when you start to understand who have you hired? It's really interesting the first time you do this because you probably already have people you're working with. So you didn't use this to hire or, you're not using this to fire, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, it kind of becomes this map. You're like, this is why Trisha does this, or this is why Sarah likes to do this, or this is why this person's not good at that thing, right? You start to learn and understand your team. And what's amazing is you get to put them in places they thrive, and you get to get them out of stuff that they're naturally not good at, but they're trying so desperately to help you in that specific task. Okay. So, the next part he had asked was, okay, here's what my social media manager is. And it was not great. It was low visionary, low operator. Okay. Pretty low on both of those. So they're not going to come up with ideas, and they don't even like to really implement your ideas. Probably not the best person, but here is what I said back.
Think about it. If you want her to be a visionary in Instagram, you could say, okay, so go look at my Instagram. What are some ideas like that you would bring to the table? Like, what are some things I could do that I'm not doing? And if you're not a visionary, you're going to be like, like it's going to catch you totally off guard. As a natural visionary, she might be like, okay, so I was ready on your Instagram. I was thinking we could do you see what I'm saying? Like an ideas person is just going to flow. And somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I have to really take a look. Like that's probably where I don't know if it's going to work. Now, the one you just showed me, I have a feeling with what that score is she wants, you could test this and just even ask these questions or do a sample project to say, give me a 7-day, like with a sample project. And I think we have our social media sample project in the program, but I would literally be like, come up with a plan for text message marketing, or come up with a plan for a 7-day grid. Like what would be 7 posts on Instagram that you would do? You're literally assigning, and you're looking like, are they just like recopying what I already have? Did they come up with like original ideas? And that's going to tell you like who they are and what they're capable of.
Okay. So here is how my message ended with a friend. You guys, this is what I do for fun. I mean, literally, I can't, like, this is literally my dream. You heard my kids in the background of some of these, right? This was literally me just off of work talking about this kind of stuff. But it ended with him maybe like a week or two later saying, I found my girl. Not only does she look amazing on paper, but I've tested her personality. I've given her sample projects. She's the girl. Like she is exactly what we're looking for. And he was just thanking me for letting him, giving him permission to not rush and hire the first girl who looked great on paper, but there were some other red flags, right? And so many times we just want to avoid the red flags and think, I just hope this is going to work. But hoping is not an effective strategy when hiring. Okay. You do not need to hire and still be in doubt if this is your person. Give them a sample project, give them a week test, a 30-day test, a 90-day test. Like sometimes people are unemployed. They will do a 90-day test, right? So these are all things I want you to be considering. Now, if you want to know more of how we do this and how I do this specifically, come join us inside of Well-Oiled Operations. We go way deeper on certain roles, certain team members. You can literally show us, like we'll share our favorite personalities test inside of the program, but then you can literally bring the results of that and we will tell you what that looks like. Now, again, you cannot legally hire or fire off of this, but we do use this information to ask better questions in the interview process, really learn about the person we're specifically seeing. So I know this was kind of a different episode today, but I couldn't even redo it if I wanted to, because it was in the moment of him going back and forth with me. So I hope that you could hear well, and I hope this was helpful. And I hope it gives you permission to slow down your hiring process and get the right people in the right seats, because it will explode your business. If you want to learn more about Well-Oiled Operations, you can go to stacytuschl.com/book a call, and all of the details are going to be there for you to get more information on the program.